Hi there. This is Eric trying this new chain, new since say Roman times. So I've cut this piece at 2.5 inches, and now I'm going to pull this out 1, 2, 3 times, and that is a roll of 16 gauge that I got from the hardware store. And I'm going to put this off to the side and start making some cuts. I hope you're liking the music. This is called Conversations with a Dolphin, and it's off of Venus Rising, which is an album produced by Faxo Music. You can find it on Bandcamp. So I'm still learning how to hit the two cameras. This is my Lindstrom cutter. Here's my 2.5 inch piece. I am going to hold the flush cut side to the left and start snapping these guys off. Well, and losing it off to the side. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice how with my left hand, I'll put this stack down off over here. I'm holding the other wire, that's still attached to the spool, so it doesn't go sailing all over the place. And hopefully this is coming through pretty well. We'll tell in a little while when we check out the recording. So let's see, once they're sort of staying the same, but as you can see, there's probably an 1/8 inch of difference or so. But since we're going to be trimming ends as well, set those off to the side again. And the ends that we're going to be trimming will be the ones that are not flush cut. And since we are using the same positioning of the cutters and the wire, they're going to be laid out the same way. So now we'll take this spool and kind of unspool a little bit. And I just lost it. It's not really that important, but it does, doing this and not letting it get away. Or it does get away, as you can probably see it slap off a screen. And since this is kind of not a huge detail aspect, not a big deal. But my cuts, I'm not too happy with all those cuts that are. I got a lot of variance, so it's like my eye is going to necessarily, and now I'm moving this back up onto my platform here, because the setup I've got here, I've got an overhead light, and I got my cell phone. The cell phone camera is demonstrated. There, we'll put those in place. And we'll put this up off the side, off the top here. The cell phone camera is here with my hands. The one on the screen with the foam pad. And then the computer camera is the one that is looking straight ahead. Now I have some LED lighting, some strip lighting up above, and at some other video I'll show you what that's like, how I built that. Now I'm just going to check here, make sure, yep, they're all in the same place. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the flush cut, and the flush cut is going to be down, and I'm going to hold this into the mat. So from this perspective, I'm working with it like that, and I'm pushing the sharp end down into the mat. I'm putting it off to the side here, and this prevents those little pieces from flying off into the carpet or onto the floor of your workshop. Okay, so we'll just go through and snap all of these guys off right now because I'm enjoying it. If for no other reason, I'm enjoying it. Okay, and hopefully this is kind of a test video, so we will be seeing what this looks like once we're done recording. And it took a little while to get it set up this way. What you can do if you're watching this, hopefully you can see pretty much both views. And when you watch the recording, one of the things I will be paying attention to is if can you pin it. So this being a trial run, what we have going on is called learning curve. And one of the things I tell my classes are always be generous with yourself and give yourself the learning curve. Having grown up as a perfectionist, if I couldn't pick it up and do it right the first time, well, you know, that just wasn't what was what shall we say, what was inappropriate. It was like, okay, give it to me, I'll do it for you, you're taking too long. So forget about that. Figure that it's learning curve, and you give yourself permission to screw up periodically. Hopefully that's one of the reasons you use hardware store 16 gauge copper, because it's not as expensive as, say, sterling silver or 18 karat gold. You want to get your chops up, so to speak, unless of course you have Bill Gates' money, but then even at that point, why would you be doing this except for fun? And didn't hold it down into the pad, so it flew off into my lap, and now I'm going to have some little copper to pick up, but that's no big deal. And we got down to the last one. All right, excellent. Now we got both ends flush cut. We can move the cutter, the Lindstrom. This is a Lindstrom 8141 flush cutter, and that cuts up to 1.25 millimeter thickness, which happens to be 16 gauge. There we go. And this roll will cost you about $8-9. Now we have our stack here. We'll put that up here. Move our flush cutter up off out of the picture. Now what we're going to do, see how this wire has a bend to it? So let's just take advantage of that bend, and with our pliers here, now we're going to go for a big size link. So we're going to hold this down way at the base here. And now we're just going to fold this over, bend that in half. I went a little far. Now, so that's the first part of it. Yep, I see I must have had one wire flipped around. So we're going to flush cut that end and flush cut that end again. So right there, there was a lapse in my routine. And everybody knows how important routine is. Obviously, there, now we have zipper and we have God particle. So this is a mala that I made. It's got sterling silver plated hematite with tiny little 2 millimeter hematite in between the spacers. And it's got 108 beads and times 2. And then it's got the God particle at the end. So I'm using that in my beading. Okay, now there's our piece. See if we can see what it looks like there. And I can bring it up to the camera a little bit, bring it close to this camera. All right, now we've got a little horseshoe here, it looks like. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to, and holding the pliers with 2 fingers, see if you can see that. There we go, on that, on the front, and do it here. So I don't butcher the wire too badly, even though, now what I'm going to do is kind of spin this around, and I'm not closing it all the way. So I've got the beginning of a link. So let's go through this. And I'm going to go through this fairly quickly. Try to get my 1/2 inch. And again, I'm going to go with the wire. I'm not going to go against the wire here. I'm not going to flip this over and try to bend it backwards. You know what they say about trying to push the river? You know, you got the same kind of thing going on with pushing wire. There's absolutely no sense in doing it. And I can see, since this is my first time in a few thousand years that I've done this chain, that my loops are not, my bends are not exactly halfway. And, but we'll just persist. A big part of it is exactly that, persistence, because like we were talking about before, you want to give yourself a learning curve. Be kind to yourself. And here we go. And this goes pretty quickly. So we're just going to make all that we cut up into big horseshoes. I don't, you can see them here. And let's go there. And we're just going to go through these. And like I said, I'm not doing too great for making these guys the same length. But I'm also not too worried about it because I got my handy dandy, meaning right off to my right, Lindstrom cutter. Now, you see the top of my head cut off, and that's because I got a shroud over the computer camera so I don't have a blaringly hot light. And I don't have the spacing down pat. And that'll come with practice too. This is where my learning curve is coming in. First, it's been a while since I've done chain. And secondly, setting up the cameras, having two of them working together, getting some decent lighting so you can see what's going on with this. All while enjoying the song Conversations with a Dolphin. And I don't know about how many people out there have actually had conversations with a dolphin, but I have multiple times. And right now, if you want to turn off the broadcast, you're welcome, because I just kind of rattle on about what I'm doing, how I'm working. And if you want the knowledge of building a chain, then maybe the other stuff I prattle on about won't make much difference. All right, so we're at 3, 2, and 1. All right, now here is our little pile of horseshoes. Now, you know what they say, close only counts in horseshoes. So this one's pretty close. Showing it to this camera. And now you can see here, that's not bad. So we're just going to take this guy and we'll flip up and we'll make the links. We'll make the loops. If you want to work with wire, basically you got 2 things. You got 3 things. How you hold the pliers, how you use your wrist, and what your loop looks like. It is all about the loop, the loop. It's all about the loop, the loop. That's sorry. Again, if you want this knowledge, sometimes, you know, you got to take the other stuff with it. So anyway, I'm going to go through this pile here now and make these loops. And that one, of course, I got a little inattentive. So being a little inattentive has given me a little funkiness on the loop. So we're going to put it over here because I don't think it's going to be too bad with the other ones. But now I'm going to focus a little bit more so I don't do that again. And use my attention a little bit more carefully. Yeah. And that one did the same thing. And so we'll see once. Can we make this one work? Yeah, 2 different size loops. Okay, so maybe the width makes a difference here. So we'll bend that over. A little bit different. Oh, this one's way off. So I'll pick up my flush cutter here. There we go. And I'm going to trim that so I got the sides not too far off. And then we'll bend those hooks again. There we go. And I'm making a nice little line here just because that's what my brain likes to do. And it's also, you keep it ordered a little bit, and maybe it's a little easier down the road. And so we're just going on, and let's see, make sure I try to center this a little bit better so you can see it. There you go. And it's not working too bad. So we're probably way over the time you'd normally like to lengthen. Ah, here's another one that's not quite. I missed getting it cut flush. So we'll just take care of that. And now put the hooks in here, the loopy loops, and continue. Ah, another one. Well, what we've seen is quite a bit of inattention there, but that's okay because I'm just trying this out. So you are privileged. Yeah, I'm not real happy with how that one. Sometimes these handles come off. How that one is aligned either. So we'll cut that one off. And we'll flip this one. And we're making a nice little length of chain here. Boy, I'm going to blame it on not using my jeweler's visor. Because literally I'm doing this by feel. Because I can't really, with these spectacles I'm wearing, I can't really I'm not really getting a good vision on it. But that's the nice thing about it. You can do this sort of thing. Once you kind of understand it, more by your sensing and by the rhythm of your body than by vision. Yeah, that one's not very good. I don't know if it'll work. And looks like I switched a lot of these around. But part of it, if I wasn't doing the video, I'd probably be checking this more. I'll set that one aside. I'd probably be checking these more carefully. But in the interest of speed, oh my goodness, in the interest of not boring you either, as I'm going through this, I just kind of jumped into it. And someplace along the line, I clearly reversed this. All right. Over and over and over again. Now, you can see my flush clutter, the handle slipped off. So you can just slide that back up. And again, we're going off. Push that in place. Making the links. And and what I'm doing is when I'm snipping these off, I'm basically going off camera kind of here, pushing that into the pad so it doesn't fly off. So here we go. So making that loop. Well. So I'll show you again. Holding the end down, snapping it off, make that even. Then I got these two little pieces. And you know, the nice thing about this is pre-COVID-19, I would take wire to my local coffee shop. I have a traveling bag, And I would have my coffee or tea, kick back, and build some jewelry, mostly earrings at that point, in public. And honestly, excuse me, if you're with somebody, if you're in a place and you know them, the folks there who run it pretty well, they might even let you sell while you're doing it. And that's always fun because you never know what kind of interactions you might have. I'm unhappy with that one. I'm going to set that one off to the side. Again, probably for the next video. Or when I'm doing this in the middle of the night, if I can't sleep, I will definitely make sure that I've trimmed and had all the edges in the same position, because my I repeated that same operation twice, only effectively once. So let's turn that. Okay, so now here you can see a bunch of chain links. So what are we going to do with this? Well, we're going to slide this over. That one I bent too much, so I can't get that under. That one is closed. That one works. So let's close that loop now. And by closing that loop, let's see if I can get this here. There's a little opening. So I'm going to take this loop, and I'm going to bend it right up against that wire. So you can see on both of those loops, they go right to that wire. Now, what I'm noticing is that on some of these, I have a little bit of extra. They're pretty tight. So I'm going to just leave those off to the side. Until I find the ones that are not. So I'm getting my chain looking. So there's here, and you lay it on its side. And let's try this. Maybe I can move the whole thing effectively. Yeah, that doesn't work so well. But again, this is experimentation. So I'm going to hold it here so you can see what that looks like. Okay, so we'll just, since the music stopped, we'll just end right here. And I've got a bunch of work to do here yet. But first time I've tried this in thousands of years, a couple thousand years maybe. And I want to thank everyone for hanging with me at this point. And you got any questions? Hit me up on my YouTube channel. It's called Bright Zen Shine, as in bright sunshine, but this is the Zen Shine, which means clarity. Okay, thanks everyone. Good night.